Testing. Move this up a bit. What is up, guys? The Strong Boys 19 here. So this is going to be my live stream of showing you guys my entire vinyl collection. Now, I apologize as well that this looks very wide because I was adjusting the mobile that I'm using to record this live stream with to make sure everything's in perfect balance. This shouldn't really be shown. Hence, I did say that it's a wide screen type of look. Old Spice deodorant. Love deodorant like that. But this is going to be for showing you guys every single record that I have bought so far. And bear in mind, over time during the stream, it's going to be in no particular order because I am one of those lazy people that really does not want to organize stuff all the time. But thankfully, through these shelves, most of my records are in alphabetical order. But before I start, is everything all good to go? I'm just going to have a look at the chats just to see if you're all good to see everything. Should I change position a bit, or does it look all right? Also, let me know if the picture and audio quality are all good to go before I start. Black Order Rust, what is up, mate? I hope you are doing well. And Zach D Productions. By the way, guys, check out Zach D Productions. Shout out to him. He's been getting a lot of new subscribers, and he deserves a lot more. Be mindful and wise. Welcome back. So, also, before I jump right into this, I just want to say thank you very much to new subscribers who have been subscribers from the Metal Meltdown that's decided to check out my channel and just click the subscribe button just because of a very random albums topic video that we did together. It was a lot of fun recording the video, and I couldn't be any more grateful and happier that with you guys giving the video a lot of attention just because of him, and you guys are the best. Also, my appearance does not look as how I would usually look. Since a few days, let's just say that I've been going through a cold, and it was not a very good experience whatsoever. So I'm getting the hang of it, but I guess I'm like halfway there for getting better as much as possible. Zach D Productions, I saw that collab. I thought you two had some very good choices. Thank you very much. Aiden, fancy seeing you here. Thank you for tuning in. And welcome anybody who wants to participate watching the stream. Do share a like for the stream, and if you haven't subscribed, click subscribe, and also click the notification bell to receive notifications when I will be live once again, or when I'll be uploading a new video. And I will also do my 2 album reviews. Well, no, actually 2 albums in one video for the 2 Devin Townsend albums of The Puzzle and Snuggles. And I think my last one could maybe be Barn by Neil Young and Crazy Horse. Without any hassle, you can talk amongst yourselves for the time being for a few minutes, as I will be showing you guys my entire record collection. This is not all metal, by all means. This is not all metal. I have a ton of rock, some folk, jazz, prog, experimental stuff, a big variety of genres. I'm actually going to get my box of tissues. And I apologize because I just don't want to, be chilling in my bed without thinking of you guys. So I thought, let's just battle through my cold by just doing a live stream at the same time. I know. I'm streaming now for like 5 minutes and I've not started. So, without any further ado, let's jump right in. And you can comment on any of the records that I will be displaying. Blackwater Rust. I'm going to get my popcorn machine. I have melted buttercup. Not it's time to make some popcorn. I have a feeling this will be a great stream. I hope so as well. Yeah, I see. I see. Be mindful and wise responding to Blackwater Rust. Yeah, you can interact with each other while I talk, or if you just want to see me show my records, by all means, you can do whatever you want during the stream. Right, let's go. Let's go into the A's. Some of these records that I own here, I have not played yet, or some that were given to me. So these do count. What a way to start the vinyl collection with ABBA. This is the record of Waterloo. Unfortunately, I have not listened to a lot of ABBA, so I can't really comment on ABBA. But, you know, surprise, surprise. I know they have a new album out recently, but to be perfectly honest, I am not really a fan of ABBA. Don't get me started on Dancing Queen and Mamma Mia whatsoever. Here's another ABBA record. This record, Voulez-vous, I think that's how you pronounce it, if it's in a different language. So I can't really comment on ABBA, as I've said. I like ABBA, and by that I mean Black's ABBA. Oh, I just see what you did there. I'm trying to get into ABBA. I've only heard their album Arrival so far. That's fair enough. So, yeah. Like I said, what a way to start my vinyl collection. The next record, another ABBA record, and I believe this is self-titled. Yeah, this one does have Mamma Mia on it. So I just don't really have a lot of words to talk about for ABBA. I know they're very successful and all that, but they're not one of my favourite groups. No disrespect to ABBA whatsoever. So, moving on from ABBA to ABC. Now, this I'm very familiar with because when I used to try and do my best on music technology, the song The Look of Love, which is on this, was involved in one of the assignments, I believe. So I only know that song. And I don't have anything else to say other than that. So I just can't believe that it's actually here with me. ABC, the Lexicon of Love. Some of the records, by the way, are wrapped inside these HMV sleeves. Some of them don't. Next record, this is Adam and the Ants, Kings of the Wild Frontier. I am very familiar with Adam and the Ants. I do like some of the singles, but, you know, again, like ABBA, haven't really been listening to them a lot and just can't really comment. I know that these guys have been one of the other beloved acts. This next album, Aretha Lady Soul, Aretha Franklin. This album is absolutely one of my favorite albums of all time. So, out of all of the soul albums that I've listened to, this album is in my top 3. I love this album as much as with What's Going On from Marvin Gaye, a Stevie Wonder record like Talking Book, for example. Not because of superstition, but, I mean, Stevie Wonder's done other classic records. But this is her best album. And this is not an original, by the way. It is a remaster. So for the late 60s, especially for soul, this record is incredibly important. So influential. And I'll have to say this, that on the day when I had heard the news about Aretha Franklin, I had played this album and I wept so hard for like 15 to 20 minutes. And just to hear her voice on that point, it's very hard. But I love this record. This is one of my all-time favorite albums. Next record is Ailstorm with Curse of the Crystal Coconut. Decided to buy this from the Napalm Records label. And I was originally going to see these guys live the coming Wednesday. But since that I am unwell, I was so pissed off that I am unfortunately not seeing the band. I will have to message Christopher to tell him that I'm not going. I had bought the tickets from Ticketmaster, and for some annoying reason as well, I can't seem to get my money back because the resale option is unavailable. So, what the fuck was that all about? They were mobile tickets, by the way, but very good album. Very, very good album. Not my favourite. It's really back through time just because of nostalgia reasons. This is on red coloured vinyl. Next album. Oh, one of my favourites. One of the essential double albums, in my honest opinion. This is, to me, the band's best work. Eat a Peach by the Allman Brothers Band. I love this. This is their magnum opus. You know, tracks like Melissa, Mountain Jam, One Way Out, Blue Sky. Come on. How can you not like this album? And with one of the greatest guitar players of all time, excuse me, and drumming, look at that gatefold. Tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Zach D Productions, you go and do your pickup video. Do what you want, mate. Blackwater Rust, pirate metal. Well, I think they're folk metal with pirate themes, but I get it. Be Mindful and Wise, Aretha Franklin is one of the greatest singers ever. And the Allman Brothers Band, very nice. I agree, Eat a Peach is their best. It's my personal favourite, as it was, for me, the most fun. It's a very fun album. And you can't go wrong with the earlier stuff. I actually have not heard the tons of later stuff yet. But, whoop, price tag just fell off. Sorry about that. I'm looking at it right now, looking at the playback while streaming. But yeah, not heard a lot of the latest stuff. I've heard most of them are not very good, or just not as well of like strong material as earlier stuff. Allman Brothers Band with Eat a Peach. And speaking of the band once again, at Fillmore East, this is a classic. And it's insane that this just celebrated its 50th anniversary. Stormy Monday on here. Whipping Post, You Don't Love Me. This is not an original. This is a re-release. I'm not going to take any of the records out during the stream because I will be here, you know, for a long time streaming. And I always have to check my battery while streaming here. But, yeah, at Fillmore East, top 10 live album of all time. Next one is Brothers and Sisters. Awesome album. Wasted Words, Jessica. If you don't know Jessica, and if you know Top Gear, Jessica was chosen to be recorded as as like a newer version of the track for that show. So Jessica is originally from the Allman Brothers band. That's a fact. But this was through Capricorn Records. Love this album. Love it. Next album. Actually got 2 copies of Brother and Sisters. And we go into one of my favourite female vocalists and musicians. When it comes to modern female musicians, yes, you get the Adeles, the Ariana Grandes, the Taylor Swifts, the, many others. But I love Amy Winehouse. And I stand by it. She's not a guilty pleasure. I am sorry about the glaring, by the way. But I really like this album. So, this is excellent. You Know I'm No Good, Rehab, and haven't played this for a long while now. Even Bob Dylan praised her with his compliments. So, Amy Winehouse, I really, really like her music. I stand by my words. She's better than Adele, musically and vocally. I love Adele's vocals, but musically, not as good as her. Amy Winehouse, mwah! Brilliant. Brilliant. Next album. This is The Animals. This is through the EMI Starline label. I really like The Animals. To me, some of the other classic groups from the 60s. Next one is another Animals record. I don't know if this is actually a compilation. Maybe or not. Maybe not. As I mess up my words. But yeah, Animals, really, really good band. They were one of the first that I've heard when I was learning guitar. Next record, Joan Armour Trading. Brilliant voice, very sweet vibe with her own writing, and her acoustic guitar playing is wonderful. I'm actually trying to not go in a repeating habit of pulling out records I've already shown. Next one, another Joan Armour Trading record, Secrets. I actually haven't listened to this one. So, I just don't really have anything else to comment. But if you haven't checked out this female artist, please do. She's wonderful, wonderful. Next one is Joan Armour Training again with Walk Under Ladders. This is on the A&M Records label. Actually, I have actually quite got a bit of a pile of Joan Armour Trading. So here is the next one, which is The Key. I actually quite like this album cover. Don't know if you can see that. Oh yeah, you can. There's her again with one of the electric guitars. And the last one from her in the collection is Show Some Emotion. Blackwater Rust, Amy Winehouse is good. Rehab is a classic. Adele is pretty overrated musically. I agree. Vocally, though, wonderful. I know that her new album 30 just came out. It's pretty much a divorce record, just like with No Jacket Required from Phil Collins. Brothers and Sisters is the only album I know by them. Great album, Rambling Man. Oh yeah, Rambling Man. Brilliant song. Have I lost track? No. This record, this is a band called Arzakel. I might have mispronounced that actually. There are some pressings in my collection that are either originals or re-releases or unofficial pressings, but you know, I don't care. This is a psychedelic, underrated gem of an album. Really, really good. And this is a band that has only released one album, which is this. And I believe it's self-titled, yes. I wanted to buy something like this because of the trippy artwork. And it really shows. So definitely check this one out on YouTube if you haven't already. Have I lost track? No. The next record is the band, self-titled. I love this record. This is one of the other classic records from one of my favorite American bands. Beautiful songs like The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, Up on Cripple Creek, Across the Great Divide, Rocking Chair, Rag Mama Rag. I do love the band, and I have heard of music from Big Pink, very strong album. This is Bob Geldof. Do they know it's Christmas? 1 year on. So, speaking of Christmas, it is that time of Christmas season, so there you go. Just some Christmas records shown. Next up, one of my favourite hip-hop albums of all time. Beastie Boys, self-titled, a remaster, classic. I think I would still pick this over Paul's Boutique, which is another classic album. But this is my favourite Beastie Boys album. No Sleep Till Brooklyn, 5 Year Right to Party, The New Style, Hold It Now, Hit It. Can't go wrong. Guitar Storms, what is up, buddy? Hope you are doing very well. And thank you very much, guys and gals, for tuning into the stream so far by clicking like and commenting. I'm going to move swiftly along very quickly. Here is the best of the Beach Boys. This is, though, Volume 3. Don't have the others. I love the Beach Boys very, very much. And speaking of them, this is one of my top 5 albums of all time. Pet Sounds. And every time I play this record, it's just magical. A magical record. Very grateful to see Brian Wilson himself with his band playing the entirety of this album for its 50th anniversary. He was part deaf and 23 when this was made. Can you believe that? Classic album. Do I need to say anything else? Pet Sounds is a classic. That's a fact. I stand by it. If you think it's overrated, fine. But it's still one of the best music ever recorded. Now we go into some experimentalism. There it is, the iconic Pet Sounds. What record player do you have, pal? I have a Project record player. Hope all is well with you, Guitar Storms. Excuse me. So, from the Beach Boys, we are going to go into the one and only Captain Beefheart. Safe as Milk. Very strong album. Some Beefheart fans say this is his best album, but I actually don't agree. I love a lot of this record, though. Zigzag Wanderer to Sure Enough, Yes I Do, Electricity, Abba Zaba, and I'm Glad, Yellow Brick Road. So, really great record. Next record is Lick My Decals Off Baby. This is like a follow-up, I guess, to Trout Mask Replica. Not my favourite, some Beefheart fans say this is his best for like the most avant-garde, over-the-top stuff. That is this album. I think it's one of his best. But my favourite Captain Beefheart album is the obvious one, Trout Mask Replica. This is close of being one of my top 10 albums of all time. This was the most what the fuck album that I have listened to ever. And do not expect to like this on first listen. It took me around 10 listens to really appreciate this. Classic album, but it's never for everyone. I'll say it like that. The next Captain Beefheart album is Mirror Man, which was actually recorded at the time from the, I think it was from the Safe as Milk era, yet alone this was released after Lick My Decals Off Baby. So it's pretty much a jamming album, just as bluesy. I really like it. Really like this album. Pretty underrated. But my second favourite Captain Beefheart album is an original pressing of Clear Spot. Big Eyed Beans from Venus. What a song. Circumstances, Too Much Time, Low Yo-Yo Stuff. My Head Is My Only House Unless It Rains. Golden Birdies. Love this. I don't have Ice Cream for Crow, unfortunately, but I do have Dock at the Radar Station, which is to me another one that I really like so much. Hothead, Ashtray Heart, Flavor Bud Living, with Gary Lucas on the guitar. He was an unknown for this record at the time, and he blew the whole thing out of the water here. Awesome. Another one of my personal favorites. Next one, moving from Captain Beefheart to the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees, Spirits Having Flown. I know Tragedy, which is on this. Obviously you got Staying Alive, but unfortunately I can't comment on the Bee Gees because I don't listen to them a lot. Captain Beefheart's Safe as Milk is a good debut. It's very bluesy. Lick My Decals Off Baby is my second favourite. I actually like it more than Trap Mask. There are some Beefheart fans that would say that same thing. I've given Trap Mask Replica 3 listens and I still don't get it. You will not get it at all with less than 5 listens. Clear Spot is actually my favourite Captain Beefheart album. I can see why. And I think arguably the best produced Captain Beefheart album. Captain Beefheart I can't stand. See, like I said, not for everybody, as Blackwater Rust does not like Captain Beefheart. And it's safe to say that, you know, he's one of those musicians that will never please anyone with one of the most uncompromising art ever. So from the Bee Gees, we move to an incorrect order of, to me, one of the greatest, if not the greatest rock band of all time. That's the Beatles. This is the mono pressing of With the Beatles. Unfortunately, this was picked up from a charity shop. It's in absolutely awful state. I'll have to frame this. That's another thing. When it comes to records, I don't sell them. I frame them instead of selling them and wanting money. Because who does that? The Beatles, Rock and Roll Music, Volume 1. These are so squished together. Here is the Beatles' early years. Early years 1. I'm trying to move on as quickly as I can, guys, so I apologise. Please, please me. Some of these Beatles records are originals, some are re-releases, but hey, it's really the music that's what counts and matters the most, and the record. Here's with the Beatles, the stereo version. Next record is A Hard Day's Night, and I think I might do re-reviews of With the Beatles and A Hard Day's Night, because I was not very happy with the turnout, with the way I was talking about those albums. So I'm going to do them again. Get in there. There you go. Here is Let It Be. And by the way, guys, if you are going to ask, I have not seen the new documentary yet, done by Sir Peter Jackson. I'll have to check that out. I believe it's released on Disney Plus, weirdly. But Let It Be is one of those Beatles albums that took a long while to really appreciate it. I didn't hate it, but it was, to me, a mishmashy album. I love a lot of the stuff on this record, though I do not like Dig It whatsoever. I will save my opinions on every Beatles album when I'll be reviewing their discography. Next up, Beatles for Sale, stereo pressing. One of the other, I would say, ignored Beatles albums. Next one is Help. This is a stereo pressing. This was one of the very first Beatles albums that I've ever heard. Let It Be. The album is horrible. Okay. You can have your own opinions. I mean, yeah. As much as I adore the Beatles, they are overrated. And say what you say about that. Beatles for Sale is underrated. The song is actually solid. I think that Let It Be is an overrated song, but it is still beautiful. The one Beatles song that I personally got really tired of was Hey Jude. It's never one of my favourite Beatles songs. So get your torches. Anyway, here is the White Album. This is a remaster. One of my favourite Beatles albums. Hot take, I don't like the Beatles either. So, as Serge Tankian says, who doesn't love the Beatles? But I do know that some people don't like the Beatles. But much respect to you for having the balls to say it, Blackwater Rust. Sorry about that. Price tag on my toe. What do you think of Get Back? Get Back is a good song, but sometimes now I think that the country croony sounding vocals from Paul is a bit cringy. Not one of my favourites to hear him. I love the White Album, but I can't stand the song Revolution 9. Hey, I love experimentalism, and I don't mind Revolution number 9. So I will not say anything else at this point, because I will do my reviews on the other Beatles albums. Here is Revolver. Absolutely one of the greatest music ever written. Period. Here's one thing. This was my number one album that I am still annoyingly trying to have an original mono pressing of this on vinyl. And I kept failing at the auctions on eBay. So it's really aggravating. But yeah, Revolver, absolute gem of psychedelia. Here is Abbey Road. This is an unofficial pressing, which I thought was an original when I used to do part 1 of my vinyl collection. Abbey Road, to me, the best finale album of all time. It's not because it's the Beatles, but with the mood, the music, oh, so good. Next record, if I can get this out. Here the Beatles Tell All, pretty much like a compilation. Just random stuff. Actually, I did not play this one. So, yeah. The next record is Rubber Soul. Now, here's a fact. When I was really getting into the Beatles, this was my favourite Beatles album. And I remember playing this record over and over and over, all over. Drive My Car, Norwegian Wood, Nowhere Man, Michelle, Girl, In My Life. Just everything. Every single thing on this record. Masterpiece in every aspect. That is, to me, the first classic. Here is Magical Mystery Tour. Very underrated. And I love this album. Some people don't like the album cover, but I actually quite like it. It's not easy for the eyes for some people, especially with the Beatles written in stars. That's a little bit, yeah, it's really bad, but I really like the trippiness of this. The movie, though, is not, to me, very good. Help is my favourite Beatles film. Not A Hard Day's Night. Moving on. So, after Magical Mystery Tour, we do have an earlier pressing, a mono pressing of Help. And here we have the daddy of them all, my original pressing of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. This was the record that totally grew my taste of many genres of music, and it does have the fourth proof. If you look at the gatefold, you look at the text, small text of fourth proof. If you look at the gatefold on the top corner, Revolver would be my second favourite Beatles album after Sgt. Pepper's. Wasn't Abbey Road the last album they ever recorded? No, it's not. It was actually... well, yes, it is. Sorry. Abbey Road was the last, but it was Let It Be that was released after Abbey Road. So it was really Let It Be that was not actually the last Beatles album. Because the turmoil between the band started during the White Album, and Let It Be, the sessions during the recording of that was shelved, and then they decided to try again and make Abbey Road. So Abbey Road became the last thing the Beatles ever recorded. So yeah, sorry for that little cock up, calling me a Beatles fan, I know. Yeah, I don't need to say anything about this record for now. Beatles are the most influential band of all time, and I do respect them. My favourite bands would not exist without the Beatles. Exactly that. Even on some metal classic bands, or some metal classic albums, or even rock albums that were inspired by the Beatles. I do like Magical Mystery Tour, but it has one of the worst album covers. Sgt. Pepper's is considered the greatest album ever made. Yeah, I do agree. If you haven't seen my video on which album is my favourite of all time, this album and Revolver are tied. Next 2 are the infamous Red and Blue compilation records of the Beatles. Next one, this is George Benson, The Love Songs. I actually may have heard George Benson before, but I can't really describe the sound of him, enough or at all, really. But I may have heard him before. Next record, this is Chuck Berry's Golden Decade. One of my favourite rock and roll musicians of all time. And who doesn't love the Chuck for classic rock and roll? I know Chuck Berry has, done a lot of classic songs. And for compilations, even with my favourite being The Great 28, it really shows that Chuck Berry is still a legend. Wonderland, Big Country. I actually did not notice this at all until now. Special limited edition. Oh, okay, I believe this is a 12-inch single. So, there's that one. There are some of these random records that I've not seen at all that I could maybe check out. Here is Big Country, Steel Town, another one from these guys. This is a gatefold sleeve. Steve Lillywhite produced this. I know he produced a Rolling Stones record. I can't believe that I'm forgetting which one he did produce. It's one of the 80s albums. So that's that one. The next record is another big country record, The Crossing, the bluest looking record that I've seen, like the darkest shade of blue. Produced by Steve Lillywhite again. Not listened to these guys at all, so I'll have to listen to them. Here is an unofficial pressing to me with a band that, in my opinion, have pioneered, well, not pioneered, were one of the very earliest that shape-shifted heavy metal. Blue Cheer, Outside Inside. From the look of the artwork and the sound of the music, I've talked about this album in my second part of underrated classic albums, and I love this album. Do check this out. This is from the late 60s. So, there you go. And the next one, before we are going to go into the big band of heavy metal, here's another band, Budgie, with Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. Really great album. Tony Borge, one of the most underrated and favourite guitarists, in my opinion. This is the one that has Bread Fan. Of course, you know Metallica's cover of it, but the original slaps. The other stuff is just brilliant. Blackwater Rust, Blue Cheer is really good. I found out about that album from your video. Thank you very much. I really like that blue on that vinyl. Budgie is great. Chuck Berry is just a legend. Yes, he still is. So Budgie, Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. So after Budgie, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go into the greatest Birmingham-based band of all time. You know who I'm talking about. The mighty Black Sabbath. This is the Rhino reissue, which does include I believe this. Hang on. I actually am looking at the track listing. I don't see Evil Woman on here, but nonetheless, this is near perfection. And how can you not love this album? It's not my favorite Black Sabbath album, but it is one of their best. I know that EQPTV loves the album as well. The next one, this is an original pressing of Technical Ecstasy. Very underrated and one of my favourite Black Sabbath albums. So like I said, guys, some of these piles are in particular order. Some are not, for those who are tuning in. I do have the album of 13. Bought this when it came out, as well as the CD of this record. I'm actually glad that I did a re-review of the album, since I wanted to re-rank the discography. Here is Sabotage. This is the NEMS pressing, but unfortunately, as you can see right there, yeah, I actually did not play this copy. I have bought an original that I hope will play at its very best. I do have another one that was in such shit shape that I did frame it. But this is my favourite Black Sabbath album. Used to be Paranoid, but I love Sabotage. The next one, The Eternal Idol, which is an original. This is my personal favourite Tony Martin Black Sabbath album. The next one, another expensive one at that. Well spent though. An original pressing of Tear. Really great album. To me, my second fave in the Tony Martin period. Very strong album. I don't give a shit if you hate the Tony Martin era. You're wrong. Because you assholes do not give the Tony Martin era any credit and just believing in Ozzy and Dio the most, and Ian Gillan. For Black Sabbath haters of the later era, here is Master of Reality. And I bought this when I went to see the Black Sabbath convention. Not an original. It's like a reproduction of what it looks like. I believe, yeah, 2015 remaster. Brilliant album. This was like a contender for one of the earlier stoner metal albums. Whew. Getting a bit out of breath here. The next record, as I'm going to whiz through this right now, an original pressing of Heaven and Hell. I don't have Mob Rules yet, but this album, how can you not love it? Next one, this is, to me, an underrated album. Not perfect, not one of the best. Never Say Die. This is an original pressing as well. Just to buy this album, original pressing wise, after I've purchased Technical Ecstasy, I think it's pretty much worth it. And on the original, you can see the soldiers. If you can see very closely, I'm not sure if you can properly see that, but there you go. Right, I have 2 copies of Volume 4. This one, this is a re-release on the NEMS label. This one is an original on Vertigo. Excuse me. I did tell you that I have a bit of a cold, so apologies. Apologies accepted. Next record, NEMS pressing of Paranoid, one of the first Black Sabbath albums that I have bought. And we're almost done for Black Sabbath. Here is The End, a triple record edition of the last ever concert that they've ever done before they've disbanded for good. I was not there, but I did see them on the 13 tour. I have the original pressing of the debut album. So moving on from Black Sabbath, we have Best of Blondie. I actually quite like a bit of Blondie, and I really do like their catchiness. Here's the infamous album Parallel Lines. I believe this is an original. Yeah, I think it is. So that is that one. Here is Jimmy Destry Heart on a Wall. So random records once again. So I don't really have anything to say about this record in particular. Another one by Blondie. This is the self-titled album. There you go. And One Way or Another is a tune. Heart of Glass is a really good one. Bob Marley and the Wailers, Exodus. One of the greatest records of all time. Natural Mystic. So much things to say. Jamming. Yes, you obviously get Three Little Birds, but if you actually listen to this album, this is dynamite. Moving on from Bob Marley and the Wailers, I actually have Uprising on vinyl as well. So moving on from Bob Marley to David Jones, Mr. David Bowie, Hunky Dory on the RCA label, Life on Mars, Oh You Pretty Things, the Bewlay Brothers, one of my favourites. Here is Changes 2. I believe I have Changes 1 somewhere. Next record, Diamond Dogs. I know some Bowie fans love this album, but for some reason, I really just don't think it's one of the other classic albums. I appreciate this album for what it is, not really one of my personal faves. Next up, this album is my favourite David Bowie album of all time, Low. An original pressing from RCA. This is his best album. And I've done an album review on this for Classic Albums Revisited. Next record is nearly there, guys. Is Heroes. This is another original, just as great. It took me some time to appreciate, or love, I should say, this one, but the title track, top 3 Bowie song, chills. And especially Robert Fripp on that guitar noise, and Eno, beautiful. Here is Stage by David Bowie, one of my favourites. It's maybe my favourite Bowie live album. Double album from the era of the half of the Berlin trilogy. Yeah, before Lodger came out. Here is the next record, which is Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Really, really cool album. Awesome stuff. Fashion, Ashes to Ashes, Teenage Wildlife, It's No Game. Tony Levin on some of these songs. Tony Levin, legendary. I love quite a lot of this record actually. Blackwater Rust, my favorite of all time, is of Bowie's Black Star. Black Star is, to me, very strong as a finale. Greatest finale album ever. I don't agree, because I've said that about Abbey Road, but for Black Star, it is powerful. David Bowie's Hunky Dory is just a great album. Diamond Dogs isn't one of my favourites, but love the song Rebel Rebel. I agree that Low is Bowie's best. Aidan, a vocalist from a Finnish, once underground old school power metal band called Synergy. Do you know American thrash metal legends Exodus? I do know Exodus, and I know they've released a new album, but I don't really listen to enough of them. Aidan, I'm looking at your comments. I appreciate it. Paranoid is my second favourite heavy metal album of all time, and Black Sabbath album. I have The End on DVD. I love Blondie. It influenced an underground Korean American legendary female metalhead. I may not read all of your comments while I'm streaming, so I apologise, because I have a lot to really go through. So, yeah, Bowie with Scary Monsters, Super Creeps. Another record, one of the most iconic albums of all time, and for me, still one of the other overrated albums, Ziggy Stardust. But it's still a brilliant album. This is not his best album, as so many Bowie fans say that it is. Great concept, but in my opinion, overrated. Very strong though. But my favourite Ziggy era Bowie album is Aladdin Sane. I actually love this album more and more when I play this over Ziggy Stardust. Great album, great follow-up. So like I said, guys, I won't see every single comment. I really appreciate it, but since my collection is just massive, I may not see every single one, but you can respond to each other. I will see a lot of them at the same time. Here is the Best of Bowie, a compilation, pretty much from the era on Space Oddity to, Lodger. Just a very basic comp. The next one, here's Changes 1. Changes 1, Greatest Hits. I need to have an original pressing of Station to Station, because I need that album in the collection. So that is the first part. So from David Bowie, we are going to go into this record, Mike Bloomfield and Al Kooper. I really like Mike Bloomfield, really good guitar player. Al Kooper, awesome as well. I actually did not play this one yet. It's a double album, I believe. Or not. I know it's a gatefold. I need to play this. Next one, this is The Boss, Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run. Classic album. Nothing much needed to be said about this album. Wrong way. This is Kate Bush, Lionheart. Really like some Kate Bush. And Pink Floyd's David Gilmour made her famous. He helped her to get popular. So thank you very much. From one of the greatest guitarists of all time. And Kate Bush, just wonderful. I need to get Hounds of Love on vinyl as well. Next up is Glenn Campbell's Greatest Hits. Yeah, I believe that some of these compilations I may have heard of, but not not heard all the way through. I actually do like some other genres, tiny bit of country, but Johnny Cash though, Johnny Cash, you do not mess with him. I don't give a shit. Johnny Cash is the best one. Ah, here's another one. One of the other metal giants, Carcass with Surgical Steel. This is still, to me, their best album since Hard Work. I did review Torn Arteries when it came out, but this album's better. Double album pressing. Joe Cocker, a twofer with a little help from my friends, and the self-titled. Really do like a bit of Joe Cocker, in a way. So the next one, Eric Clapton, August. This album, along with this one here, Backless, was one of the very first records that I've ever bought when I started record collecting, as well as a very bad pressing of Dylan's Nashville Skyline. And also, yes, with Going for the One, which they will be shown. Here is Journeyman, the first Clapton album that I've heard. And I really love this album. Great record. But Clapton is better in bands, in my opinion. Here are some records from a band called Camel. This is Mirage. And here is Nude. I really like Camel. Another one of the other prog style bands that I want to get into more. Here is The Clash with Sandinista, the infamous double album. I believe it's a triple, actually. Sorry. But yeah, The Clash. I actually think that this is a good band, but they're one of the other overrated bands. So I have a lot of respect for The Clash. Here is the self-titled album. And of course, without Clash, with the infamous album here, London Calling, you'll be missing it out if you don't have London Calling on vinyl. Yeah, I do like The Clash, but they're one of the other overrated bands, in my honest opinion. I'm getting a bit bored of some of their singles, and Rock the Casbah, come on. Heard that too many times. Next few records from one of Canada's best solo artists of all time is Mr. Leonard Cohen. Songs of Leonard Cohen, the first album, beautiful. Suzanne, So Long Marianne, you know, Winter Lady, so good. And here is my favourite, Songs of Love and Hate, which is absolutely one of the darkest, but a masterpiece of an album. Here is I'm Your Man, one of my favourites. First We Take Manhattan, Ain't No Cure for Love, I'm Your Man, Tower of Song, Jazz Police, great stuff. And I have You Want It Darker, his real last album. Deep stuff. Moving on. Yeah, moving on from Leonard Cohen to one of my first ever discovered solo artists from watching animated films. That is Phil Collins. And I know there are some people that would be pissed off, but actually, shut up if you don't like Phil Collins, because he is a talented musician, and you bash him for this solo commercialism. But listen to his drumming on Genesis albums. One of the best drummers of all time. I actually like some of his solo stuff, but I am more of a fan of Peter Gabriel. Peter Gabriel's a legend. But Phil Collins, I like some of his own solo stuff. This is Face Value, obviously with In the Air Tonight. Other songs on this, Behind the Lines, Drones. Not my favourite. Not my favourite Phil Collins solo album. Here is But Seriously, which is my favourite Phil Collins solo album. I still really enjoyed watching Genesis live. I think this is an original on Virgin. As well as with Face Value, that one's on Virgin too. So moving on from Phil Collins to one of my favourite jazz musicians of all time, which you should definitely seek out to if you want to get into one of the other greats. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is John Coltrane. Ascension, very challenging record, but I love this album. It's not my favourite, but here is Alice Coltrane, Journey in Satchidananda with Pharoah Sanders. Really good one. I think this is an unofficial pressing, but awesome album. Here is another John Coltrane album, Ballads, very overlooked. Very nice. Here is my favourite, A Love Supreme. Come on. This is one of the top 3 jazz albums of all time. Here is Cosmic Music. I know that the original pressing of this goes for a lot of money. Here's a twofer for My Favourite Things and Africa/Brass. So it's a double album reissue. And here is Blue Train, another classic album. One of my favourites. But John Coltrane, still one of the best of all time. John Coltrane live at the Village Vanguard, again, unofficial pressing as well. But John Coltrane's one of my favourites of all time. Not in jazz, but of music. Next up, we have Elvis Costello and the Attractions, Armed Forces. I do like a bit of Elvis Costello, to be honest with you. I think he's a very talented musician, singer-songwriter as well. There you go. So that's that one. The excuse me. The next one, this is Cream, Fresh Cream. To me, this is Clapton's best band. Absolutely, my favourite band that Clapton's a part of. Awesome debut, not my favourite. NSU, Sleepy Time Time, Spoonful, I'm So Glad. I love I Feel Free. But my favourite Cream album is Disraeli Gears, one of the Essential Psych albums. I hate Phil Collins. That's fair enough. You don't have to like everything. I hate Metallica. Okay, Rise Above the Sorrow. I'm sorry, but if you're just going to come here and trash talk while I'm streaming, have you got anything better to do? Otherwise, I'm going to have to... I'll have to ban you or something. So please keep your opinions to yourself, but don't judge, because if that happens, you're fucked. Disraeli Gears, one of the greatest 60s albums. Don't make me lose track from that distraction, please. Here are the... actually, hang on. I do have Live Cream and also Wheels on Fire, but for some reason Volume 1 of Live Cream's not shown in there. I apologise, but here's Volume 2. These two live albums from Cream, absolutely fantastic. Listen to Clapton's playing on this. Brilliant. Cream are my favourite Clapton band, as I've said just now. Yeah. Next record, guys. This is Deja Vu by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. One of my favourites of all time. Just essential. You know, Woodstock, their cover of Joni Mitchell's classic, Helpless, Carry On. Beautiful. Beautiful. Pair of Jeans review sucks. Okay, for fuck's sakes. Rise Above the Arrow. Sorry about this, guys, but get the fuck out of here. So, shut the fuck up. Sorry about that, guys. No hate on this channel. On here, please. So, back to this. Deja Vu by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. To me, their best album. And I'm a big fan of Neil Young. And I'll get to him later on. Here is another pressing of Deja Vu, which I believe, yes, it's a first pressing. When I bought this classic album. I know I've just removed him from the chat, guys, but can we move on to positivity? Zach D Productions, by the way, did you enjoy your pickup video recording, mate? Hope you're well as well. Here is Four-Way Street, the infamous live album from the trio and Neil Young. Unfortunately, this record is not very well conditioned, so I might have to buy this again. But some of the stuff on this live album is awesome. Back to Eric Clapton again with Derek and the Dominos, with Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs. This is a remaster. One of the best double albums ever made. Ryan, I'm so sorry. Ryan Rupre, I hope you are well. Thank you very much for tuning in. John Coltrane is amazing from Blackwater Rust. Andy, Alice in Chains. Unfortunately, mate, I don't have Alice in Chains. I should have said this from the beginning. There will be some people that will ask me, have you got a record from this or that band? Or why haven't you got this? A few reasons. Number one, I really like or love the band of whoever it is, but I don't have any of the stuff in the collection for now. And number two, it depends on who I like. And number three, it has to do with what interests me to buy an album and discover a band. But having said that, Alice in Chains are a really good band. I apologize, Andy, but thank you for tuning in. Sedition Through Scorns. Dang, I've been here for a while and I see some hate going on. Whatever happened to people actually being open about music for the music? That being said, your vinyl collection is expansive. Sorry I had to read that fast. But thank you very much, Jake, for participating. New Jerry Cantrell album is great. Also, Andy, his new guitar. Wonderful. Love the tone on that beast. So, during the stream, positivity is what we want here. We don't want any hate. I know this is for a very subjective matter of anything we talk about, But since this is all on positivity and what I want to share, let's keep that going. Anyways, Derek and the Dominoes, their only album, but this is simply gorgeous. One of my favorite album covers of all time. Where am I? Are we here? Yeah. Next up, we have a Django Reinhardt record. Really like some of his sweet acoustic guitar playing. This is on the RCA label. So moving on from Django Reinhardt, we have, excuse me, a few records from one of my favourite folk musicians of all time, which is Donovan. This is Sunshine Superman. I think Donovan is wonderful. I've heard some people lately that he's not very good live. Lately, at this point. But one of my favourite solo artists. I do have, as well, the Fairy Tale album. This is a classic. To Try for the Sun was one of the first acoustic guitar songs I've ever learnt. Beautiful album. Ballad of a Crystal Man as well. So, another one with one of the other legendary folk records. So we move from Donovan to another one of my favourite bands, which is The Doors. Here is the self-titled album, a re-release on Elektra, one of the psychedelic masterpieces. It's not my favourite. It's not my favourite Doors album, but I love Strange Days as well. But this is my favourite, LA Woman. Just a raw, stomping, catchy, energetic record. Love it. Love this album. My favourite Doors album. And here is a compilation. The Best of the Doors. Double album. Pressing. With a gatefold. Yeah. With a gatefold. Andy, I don't have Soundgarden. I'm not going to repeat what I've said a few minutes ago, but at least do enjoy the stream. The Black Sabbath records have shown, by the way, since you are a fan. Here is another legend, one of my favourites of all time. That is Nick Drake. We have 5 Leaves Left. All these are remasters. 5 Leaves Left, Brighter Later, and I do have Pink Moon, but it's on a box set. I believe I have missed one record out. Oh, no. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry about this. Here is Live Cream. The first Live Cream live album. Beautiful. Playing. Awesome stuff. I think the record that I've missed out on showing earlier on, before I got distracted by some troll, Deep Purple, Made in Japan. Do I need to say anything else? Classic. Period. One of my top 5 live albums. Another Kate Bush album, her first album, The Kick Inside. So not a lot of Kate Bush with me in the collection, but this is through the EMI Records label. Get back in there. And moving on from Kate Bush with a bit of Björk. This is Homogenic, one of my favourites. The record is Inside at the top. Electronic inspired, this album, along with Remaining Light from Talking Heads, were inspirations for Radiohead for the Kid A album. Not my favourite from her, but it's one of the best. I do have posts on vinyl. For those that have seen some of my update videos, I have got Biophilia as well, and Vespertine. So, after Björk, we go to one of my favourite solo artists of all time. And I have got quite a bit of a pile here. Bear with me. Get back in there. It will be shown in a minute. A pile of records from Robert Allen Zimmerman, aka Bob Dylan. Desire, Nashville Skyline. For those that have noticed, I mentioned, I've said earlier, that this crappy pressing, along with the two solo albums that were shown from Eric Clapton, were one of the first records I bought. So, love this album. Here is The Times They Are A-Changing. Various pressings in this pile. Blonde on Blonde. My favourite Dylan solo album. So, just one of the top 10 solo records by anybody, in my opinion. Self-Portrait, really hated when it came out. Some people defend this, and I'm one of the people that actually likes this record. It's not a classic. The Basement Tapes, absolutely adore this. From Dylan and the Band. Highway 61 Revisited, another classic album. Here is my very first Japanese pressing that I've ever got. This is an original Bob Dylan at Budokan. I know some people don't like this, but I really enjoy it. There are some of the other renditions of Dylan classics that he did that were not as good, or some that are not very good. But that's Dylan for you. And here is New Morning. Very good album. And here is Slow Train Coming. I'm not going to bother with the religious albums. No disrespect to the religious side of music. I believe with whatever I want. I mean, I'm not religious at all, but you can like what you like. And I have no problem with anyone with a religious belief. John Wesley Harding. Really good album. Bringing It All Back Home, the beginning of his classic trilogy, and here is a much better pressing and condition copy of Nashville Skyline. And the last album, Blood on the Tracks. Essential, absolutely essential record. It's my second favourite Bob Dylan album. I have not listened to him for a very long time. This is pretty hard work. Heavy buggers. The Eagles, The Long Run, the only Eagles album that I've got, excuse me. Not really a big fan of the Eagles, but like I said, for those who have been watching, some of these records were given to me. I don't mind the Eagles, just not one of those that I would play so much. So after the Eagles, we go to another one of my favourite heroes in music, and especially for solo artistry. If I can get a lot of the other records out first. Bear with me for a bit, guys. Good thing I've started earlier than ever, because I don't want this stream to go on for few hours of the morning. These albums from one of my favourite artists of all time, that would be Brian Eno. Here is No Pussyfooting, an original pressing with King Crimson's Robert Fripp. The next one is Discreet Music, another original pressing, one of the earlier albums that pioneered the ambient genre. My favourite Eno album of all time, Ambient 1 Music for Airports. Here is the Abbey Road re-release, double album pressing of Ambient 4 on Land from 2018. Classic album. The other pile is down here, so I'll whiz through these. Reflection, double album pressing. My favourite, Evening Star by Fripp and Eno. Take a drink when Greg says of all time. Shut up, Jake. Sorry, I can't do that myself because I'm going through a bit of a cold. Another Green World. Many fans say this is his best solo album. It's one of my top 3. And here is Lux. Pretty overlooked as well, but I love other stuff involving some collaborations, like with Fripp and Eno, but this is another one. With David Byrne from Talking Heads, My Life in the Bush of Ghosts. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. I don't think I would be fitting these in all at once here. The last one on this top shelf is Elmore James, One Way Out. I really like just some of the classic greats of the blues. Elmore James is One Way Out, the only one of his that I own. So, shelf 3. Going to go quickly this time for this one. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Brain Salad Surgery, the only ELP album that I own. These random records over here, here they are. 2 copies of the the David Essex album of the greatest hits. David Essex, Imperial Wizard, and Hot Love. So, Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams, 12-inch single. And here's Faces, a nod as good as a wink. Yeah, really, really do like some of the Faces stuff. So moving on from that pile to one of my favourite bands, Fleetwood Mac. This is my favourite Fleetwood Mac album, Then Play On. This is, to me, Peter Green's finest, and I adore this album. This was one of the best guitar albums. Yes, you get Rumours, but this is my favourite. This is an original as well. Next up, we have double album of Tusk from Warner Brothers. Underrated album that I actually do like. I like that album quite a bit. And here is Rumours, one of the other best sellers in music history. So no words needed. Everyone knows about this album. Here's one of my favourites. Actually, hang on. Bit of a cock up here, guys. Yeah. What I thought I was going to pull out was Tango in the Night. I do have that on vinyl. But here is the greatest hits. The greatest hits of some of the 70s hits. Yeah, that's all. The next one, here is A Flock of Seagulls with Listen. So that's what it looks like. Some random picks. I think this is a single. Yeah, I think it is. Next up, we have another single, Relax, from Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Some of these records, I'm actually surprised that are in here with me in the collection. So I'm as surprised as you lot are. Here's Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Another one by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Gatefold sleeve. Ooh, I think some records like. There you go. Trying to not fold back properly. But yeah, I like a bit of Frankie Goes to Hollywood for quite a bit. Here is the J Gills band with freeze frame. Pretty wacky. A strange looking album cover. Sorry about the noise. Hope everything's all working. Please let me know, peeps. But yeah, that's that record. Next up, we have the Grateful Dead, which is Working Man's Dead. I need to get into this band a bit more, but I did buy this out of curiosity. Really like the sound of this album. I know some people are not fans of this band, but since I love the Allman Brothers band, maybe I could just check these guys out again. Oh, excuse me. So, next couple of records are from one of my favourite bands from France. I have my favourite album by them, You, on vinyl, but it's not here at the moment. And it is Gong. We have Flying Teapot, Radio Gnome Invisible Trilogy. This is a re-release. The second part, Angel's Egg. Really cool album. Just a classic album. Love this. You is my favourite, which is the last one in the trilogy. But here is Camembert Electrique, a remastered audiophile edition. So from Gong, we go into Genesis. We have Genesis Live. This is an unofficial pressing. Really cool live album, but Peter Gabriel's voice during the performances are a bit backed off. But I prefer Seconds Out maybe a bit more now. I have actually, sorry about this, guys, one sec. I have a few copies of Selling England by the Pound. I'm not going to talk about Genesis here for long because I am going to be reviewing the rest of their albums. But I'll briefly say it that this is one of the essential progressive rock albums. The reason why I have some copies of this album is because that I was trying to get a pressing that has the best amount of audio quality, the best listening experience. Here is Trespass. It's not the first Genesis album. It's the first where they went prog, but it's their second album. I really like it. Here is the infamous, weirdest concept album of prog, in my opinion. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Mick Jeans, how are you doing? Thank you very much for tuning in to the stream. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, one of my favourites. The finale for Peter Gabriel, obviously. Here is, to me, the last classic Genesis album, A Trick of the Tail. I just love this. So, this is their best post-Peter Gabriel Genesis album. I have random other pressings of Abacab because I wanted to get all the colours. And I think I have one more missing just to match every one. I know it's just for collectors' sakes, but this is what I want to do. And, you know, I'm just one of these people that would like to just complete a random records pressing just to match every single one. But I like Abacab. I have as well Wind and Wuthering on vinyl here. Great follow-up to A Trick of the Tail. Can't be asked with prog rock. Too much messing around. Just give me rock and roll tune, please. Well, I did show a Chuck Berry compilation that you may have missed. But if you want to see the start of my collection, just go back to the stream from the beginning. Well, it's rambling at first, but you know, you get the idea. Anyway, Wind and Wuthering, really good album. Here is another classic record, Genesis, Foxtrot. Personally, one of my top 3. Supper's Ready is, to me, the best Genesis epic and the highlight of this album. And here is Seconds Out. This is, to me, the best sounding, best recorded Genesis live album. And it's gorgeous. So good. Awesome stuff. Love your eclectic taste in music, Greg. Thank you very much, Mick. And same to you. It's awesome that some friends of mine in person do decide to check out what I do. That's different to to what they usually see of me in person. Yeah. I don't have any hole, Andy. And sorry, but I fucking hate Courtney Love. Don't get me started. Anyway, Seconds Out by Genesis. Here we have Invisible Touch. Very average album, in my opinion. Bill Bruford played drums on that live album. That is correct, Ryan. Another legendary drummer. What a performance. Here is Bob Hall and George Green jamming the boogie. Don't know anything about this record for now. I'll have a listen to it if I'm in the mood. Through Black Lion Records. Very unfamiliar with this. I don't like Hole, just wondered if you had any. There you go. That's my opinion. Next up is Daryl Hall and John Oates H2O. I'm not really sure what this is either. An RCA Records label. I believe this is this an album or a 12-inch? Sorry about this, guys. Sorry. Okay, it's an album. Pretty strange look. Next one is Daryl Hall and John Oates again, Private Eyes. RCA once again. Next up we have Handel, Suites for Harpsichord 5 and 5 to 8, a Christopher Wood. One of the other records, I guess, in that kind of classical kind of vein. I don't mind classical, to be honest with you. So, the next one is Heaven 17, How Men Are, from the Virgin Records label. So after these random piles of records, we go to some from my favorite guitar player of all time. You know who it is. For those that know me well, and with how much this guy inspired me so much as a guitar player, and that being is Jimi Hendrix. So here is a random Jimi Hendrix, there you go, compilation on Polydor label. Random tracks from some of the first few songs and some of the latest stuff. Next record is, to me, still my favorite live album from him, the original version of Band of Gypsies. Machine Gun on this. masterpiece of recording and performance. Who knows? Power of Soul. Essential record. Here is the remaster of Are You Experienced from 2010. Next one is the remaster of Axis Boulder's Love, which is my favorite album cover from this discography. And here is the big daddy of them all, Electric Ladyland, which is his finest work. I've done an album review on this when Classic Albums Revisited began. Here is Radio 1, a random compilation of sorts, part of a collector's series. Here is Machine Gun, the Fillmore East first show. Awesome. Oh, excuse me. Next one is an original pressing on track records of The Cry of Love. Next one is Nine to the Universe. The jamming on this is phenomenal. Just a jamming album, as I've said just now, but this was from the Band of Gypsies kind of era. Fantastic. Next up is Smash Hits. There it is. An infamous one at that. And the last one. This is just as incredible. Live at Fillmore East. Triple LP set from the original masters. Awesome picture of him right there. Sorry for the glaring, as I've said a few times now, because the light is like right above my laptop. So moving on from Hendrix, we go into a few from John McLaughlin. This is sorry, I might need to have a look at this. Shakti with John McLaughlin, A Handful of Beauty. Beautiful record. Here is one of his solo albums, Electric Dreams. This is the one with the One Truth Band. Here we have a record from one of my favourite female musicians of all time. I have her most popular album on vinyl too, Joni Mitchell. This is The Hissing of Summer Lawns. I mean, how can you not love some of the greatest voices ever in music? I like Joni Mitchell a lot. Here is Hits 5. This is a compilation of just some of the greatest hits. Artists from like Aha to Paul Simon, Eurythmics, The Stranglers, The Pretenders, Psychedelic Furs. You know, random selected tracks. Rock Around the Clock, Bill Haley and the Comets, another legend, another one that I do adore. This is Buddy Holly Lives. Buddy Holly, another legend in his own right. This is a compilation from MCA Records. Billy Idol, Vital Idol, which does have White Wedding Parts 1 and 2. This is on one of the 80s periods of music. Do you like Arctic Monkeys? Arctic Monkeys? No, I don't. Rocking the dressing gown, dude. Nice. Yes, I know you've not been here since the start, but I've been battling through a cold, so that's why my appearance is not as perfect. Excuse me. Here is Iggy Pop, the Idiot, on RCA. This one is the Innes Book of Records. Pretty humorous title there, on the Polydor label. I don't have a lot of records from this band, but I have all of the albums on CD. And that band is Iron Maiden, guys. So I only have the Number of the Beast limited edition picture disc and a 2015 remaster of the X Factor. Yeah, from Parlophone. So there you go. But like I said, I love Iron Maiden and I need to get their albums on vinyl. But some of the pressings, well, and prices as well, pretty expensive. And I'm not buying Senjutsu on vinyl that's like over £50. That is atrocious. Here we have Joe Jackson, Look Sharp. I think it's another one with the kind of a new wave kind of spectrum. I like this one quite a bit, actually. Yeah, I think I did play this one time, but I like it. Do you have the Iron Maiden's the chick version? What do you mean by that, Andy? I like the chilled look, bro. Blackwater Rust, if you had to do something, by all means, you can do what you're doing. Same with any of you guys. You don't have to stick around like for all of the stream, but it's absolutely great that there's a lot of you that's so interested in checking this out. Thank you very much. The next one, Joe Jackson again. I'm the Man. This is one that I've not played yet. A&M Records, once again. Here is Joy Division, which, for those that know my video, my topic on the scariest rock band, it has to go to Joy Division. I have Unknown Pleasures and Closer. These are remasters. Real subscribers stay all the way through these streams. Okay, Jake. I don't want to label long-time subscribers as real subscribers, because with anyone who subscribes to my channel, that is what I care about so much. I don't want to label anybody that is real or not real just because of them being subscribers. I guess I know what you're saying, but at the same time, anyone who subscribes to the channel, that means a lot, and I don't want to label anybody. So anyway, very brief discography, but very, very good at that. Still uncomfortable and very dark, but strong material at that. Next one is, this is another classic in every way, The Moody Blues, Days of Future Past. I love this album. So orchestrated. One of the earlier examples of growing prog rock. But this is nothing like King Crimson or Pink Floyd. This is from '67, and it's wonderful. Next up is another Moody Blues record, On the Threshold of a Dream. I do have another pressing of this. This is on the Deram label. Another one here, which is Every Good Boy Deserves Favour, on the Threshold label this time. In the Search of the Lost Chord. This was one of the first ones I've ever heard. Really good one. But Days of Future Past, that is their best album to me. Yeah, I do have another copy of The Threshold of a Dream. Here is the picture disc version of Crack the Sky by Mastodon, which I will go back to this band later on. Next one. This, I really am going to get this band's debut album because it's my favourite out of the discography. Any ruttles? We shall see. This is Mr. Bungle Disco Volante. This is a very challenging record for a lot of people. I can see why some people say this is their best album. This is not my favourite. But I really do think this has some of the most creative material yet. This is a remaster from 2014 on the beautiful Australian label Music on Vinyl. Before you ask, I have California on vinyl. Thriller. I don't need to say anything. I'm thinking about the music, not by anything else. Not going to go off topic. But this legend with his music, this is gold. I know some of the songs here are overplayed, but they kick ass. Catchy. It's a fun album. So think about Mr. Jackson for the music, not by the bad stuff. Shut the fuck up by ranting on him. Anyway, Thriller, classic. Next up, another row. This is The Jam. Paul Weller. Love Mr. Weller. In the City, the first album. Here is The Worst of Jefferson Airplane. I do like a bit of Jefferson Airplane too. Excuse me. Here is Flight Log by Jefferson Airplane, double album. Next record is Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. Not my favourite Jethro Tull album. I need to dive into a lot of their stuff. They're just one of those other prog bands that, to me, were pretty overlooked in my experience. Yet I know that they're one of the greatest of all time, but when it comes to people praising them, part of me that's like, I just don't get the hype. I like Jethro Tull. This pile of records is from the legend that is Mr. Billy Joel. This is the Stranger, iconic one. Glass Houses, 52nd Street, Street Life Serenade, Turnstiles. Here is An Innocent Man. Wait. Hang on a minute. Are we still going? Hang on a minute, guys. Some reason... There we go. Sorry about this, guys. I thought my phone was going to give me some stupid notification. Are we back? I am so sorry that it just happened. Mike Patton is such a musical genius, and his ability of different vocal patterns is surreal. Faith No More or Mr. Bungle, he's a very intelligent songwriter. Agree, 100%. Please let me know if it's all working. Fucking phone with some interruption, as there was this loading on my screen as I'm looking at it now. Okay, good. Sorry about this, guys. Right, Songs in the Attic. And we have Cold Spring Harbor. And this is Piano Man. This is Californian Flash. Yeah, California Flash. Get it right. The Nylon Curtain. That is the pile of Billy Joel records. I really like Billy Joel, and I think some of his vocals are wonderful. Great musician. A few records from another legend is Mr. Elton John with Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Limited edition, yellow, coloured vinyl. Another one that is just so iconic, and for good reason. I do have Honky Chateau and Don't Shoot Me, I'm the Piano Player on CD, and Captain Fantastic, and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. Bit out of breath. Single Man, and this is Greatest Hits Volume 2. Don't have Greatest Hits Volume 1. Here we have Paul Jones, Hits and Blues. Yeah, I think Paul Jones is very talented. This is on the EMI label. Thank you very much, guys, so far that you are still here. I will be so mad if this phone decides to crash the stream. Yeah, this is Hits and Blues. This is on the EMI label, as I've said. So, there you go. Another record. This is Paul Jones once again. Love Me, Love My Friends. This is a pretty creepy album cover. Not gonna lie. So this is from EMI once again. So I actually have not listened to Paul Jones enough to give him a lot of comments. But I know that he's talented. Here is another one, a compilation of the golden hits from Tom Jones this time. Really great vocalist. How can you not like Tom Jones? It's not just because of What's New Pussycat and Sweet Caroline and all that. There are other great songs that he did. Here is another Joni Mitchell album, Court and Spark. This is another classic album. I love this as much as Blue. Blue is my favourite. This is a gatefold pressing, not an original. This is a reissue on Asylum, but stunning album. Not a lot of records from this band yet, but I have a few from King Crimson. In the Court of the Crimson King, a remaster, and In the Wake of Poseidon, same type of remaster version. I have Beat. This is an original. I love this album. One of my favourite King Crimson albums. This is on EG Records. This next record, this is, actually I'm going to get these out. Yeah, these couple, no, three, are from the Kinks. This is the File series, 31 tracks of some of the stuff they've done through the career, just random selected songs. Here is Well-Respected Kinks. My favourite Kinks album for now is possibly either Preservation Society or the Lola record maybe, or Arthur, excuse me. Here is You Really Got Me, with, to me, one of the dumbest covers for a classic song. Um, but it's actually a compilation. Now I've just looked at it. Yeah, classic band, but some classic bands have crappy ideas for like a compilation thing. Now this is a record with one of my favorite ambient type of aspects of music. This is Chill Out by the KLF, and I love a lot of this record. The KLF, quite an interesting group. If you want to just be relaxed and dive into the soundscapey, free, not spacious, but like so out there, just something very calm to soothe your eardrums to, then check this out. Chill Out by KLF. Well, since I said chill out. This record is a solo record from former member of Kraftwerk, Karl Bartos, with Communication. He's a really, really good solo artist. And Communication is very solid. Standard black vinyl, released through, oh my gosh, what's the label here? Trocadero. Possibly a label from Germany or something. But yeah, really, really good record. Looking at some more of the comments. King Crimson comments. In the Call of the Crimson King has always been my favourite from King Crimson, but Red is not far behind it. I think Red is one of my favourites, but it's not, to me, a classic record. I prefer Lark's Tongues in Aspic over that album, my opinion. Here are some of the records from my favourite musician of all time. For those that know me for a long time, you know who it is. Some records from my personal favourite Beatle as well. That is John Lennon. Here is Live Peace. Live Peace in Toronto, 1969. Plastic Ono Band. His debut album, Plastic Ono Band. I'm going to make a very big opinion that, to me, this is the best solo album ever by anybody. You can say what you want to say about this album, but this record means a lot to me. Here we have Imagine, his most popular album, not my favourite. I know I've done a review for Plastic Ono Band, but I need to review the rest of his solo discography. Here's another copy of Imagine. Walls and Bridges, this is an original. Great album, one of his best. The controversial album, Sometime in New York City. Mind Games, which I like quite a lot already. Well, ever since I was really focusing on the music. Double Fantasy. And I'm one of these people that likes Yoko Ono, okay? So, Yoko haters, she's not the reason the Beatles broke up. Really annoying. Here we have Rock and Roll. Some of the covers on this are actually great. Stand By Me is one of them. Blackwater Rust. You don't like Imagine at all. Did you mean the album or the song? Please tell me. I'm not pissed. I want to know. If it's the album, then that's a different story. If it's the song, I will have my reasons. Good solo career, but Paul and George had the best solo careers in my opinion. Fair enough, some of McCartney's stuff is very good. Same with George as well. Here's my first purchase of rock and roll. And here we have the John Lennon collection, the infamous greatest hits. Here we have Milk and Honey, which does have some of my favourite Lennon solo tracks. Ooh, wrong way. Here's another one of the John Lennon collection. The album and song. The album, Oh My Love, Jealous Guy. Are you fucking serious? Blackwater Rust. I will say, Imagine the Song is his most overrated song because it's not his best song. There are way better songs from him. I love Jealous Guy, To How, as well as Give Me Some Truth, as Instant Karma 2, and God. Songs like those I prefer over Imagine. Sorry about this, guys, got distracted. But yeah, the album, dude, I'm very surprised. But hey, your opinion. Let's move on from that. Much love to any one of you who's liking the stream and commenting, having a good time. That's what matters to me the most. Thank you very much. Here is Manfred Mann for sale. Just a greatest hits compilation once again. Another one that I don't mind listening to. Aha, here is Bob Marley once again with Uprising, which I've mentioned earlier on in the stream. Great album. Redemption Song. What a tune. The next one is Bob Marley again. This one I've not played all the way through. Rastaman Vibration. I may have heard a song or two before. Yeah, I know a few. This is on Island Records also. Here is a pressing, a classic Sound of Motown pressing of Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On. This is a sex album. If you don't know this album, I'm sure you have heard the title track. This is a sex album, but I love the record just as a whole. Not my favourite from Let's Get It On. Well, from his career, I mean, come on, brain. My favourite's still been What's Going On, Here My Dear as well. But I do think this is another gem of soul music. Next one is Joe Meek, I Hear a New World, an outer space music fantasy. One of those trippy, weird, psych, experimental kind of stuff that I did enjoy. This is the Best of the Monkees. Of course, you know I'm a believer. Damn it, Shrek. That is true. I have heard of the Monkees because of that film, okay? Shut up. Next one. This is... Oh, here we go. Now, here are a few records from one of the greatest guitar players of all time, Gary Moore. This is Corridors of Power with Ian Pace from Deep Purple fame on drums. This is awesome. Very underrated discography. Here we have Wild Frontier. Over the Hills and Far Away is one of his best songs. Wild Frontier. I do have Still Got the Blues on vinyl. Not gonna lie, the Live in Mantra version on his last ever popularized concert, when he did Johnny Boy, it actually tried to move me to crying. But yeah, Gary Moore, such a legend in his own right. Anyway, here is Mott's the Hoople Greatest Hits. All the young dudes. All the young dudes. Yeah, just a comp that I've not seen until now, actually. Oh, bit of a provocative picture. Yeah, so I think I may have heard this band before. Random stuff, I know, guys. Here we go, down to the 1, 2, 3, 5, fifth shelf. Going into one of my favourite bands that I own almost all the discography of, that being Oasis. This is definitely maybe the 2014 remaster. And here we have What's the Story, Morning Glory. Unfortunately, side 2 was skipping annoyingly, so I may have to re-buy the album again. The Master Plan, great compilation, great stuff. I have Don't Believe the Truth on vinyl. Yeah, I kept the hype sticker. Love Oasis. I'm going to be back reviewing their albums. Here we have Old Dirty Bastard, Return to the 36 Chambers, the dirty version. This is one of my favourite hip-hop albums of all time. A remaster from Music on Vinyl in 2014. I love this record. My personal favourite Wu-Tang member. Excuse me. Here we have Liam Gallagher, As You Were, the picture disc version of his first album. This is a first time release of material that was originally released on cassette. This is Herb Songs from Osric Tentacles. The next one is another jazz giant, Ornette Coleman, Change of the Century. He's another one with another one of the challenging aspects of jazz fusion, or just jazz entirely. There you go. Next up is Robert Palmer, Maybe It's Live. Maybe It's Live, yeah. This is on the Island Records label. Please let me know what you think of the stream so far. If it's going to go, if it's all going well, that's what I meant to say. Some people have dropped out, but no worries whatsoever. No worries. At least you're enjoying the collection for what it is so far. I really appreciate it, as I've said earlier. Next record is... hang on a minute, guys. Here is Carl Perkins' original Golden Hits. Can't beat some Carl Perkins. Another great one for rock and roll. Are you a fan of Emerson, Lake and Palmer? Zach D Productions. I have got Brain Salad Surgery on vinyl. I like ELP, but for me they're not one of the best in prog, in my opinion. They're just one of those that, for me, can be a bit overrated. Here are a few records, well, a couple, by Macca, Paul McCartney. The first album, McCartney, I love this. This is my favourite solo album of his. Here we have an original of Pipes of Peace. I don't think it's like a great album, but it has moments. I like this album. Next up, some records with one of my all-time favourite musicians of solo artistry that I've mentioned earlier on, and he is Peter Gabriel. This is So. Of course you know Red Rain, Sledgehammer, Don't Give Up, but the album is just one of the timeless records in his career. Here we have Scratch. This was through Charisma. I haven't heard all of his solo stuff. Well, no, actually I have. I think this is a very good album, but need to listen to a few more. Here we have one of the classic soundtracks. This is Passion, the soundtrack for The Last Temptation of Christ from Martin Scorsese. I love this this classic soundtrack with one of the best music ever recorded. Here we have my favourite Peter Gabriel solo record, Us. Come on, I'm going on streaming for quite a long while now. Us. This is my favourite Peter Gabriel album. Come Talk to Me, Blood of Eden, Steam. I know it's like Sledgehammer in a way. Digging in the Dirt, Washing of the Water, Secret World. This is a masterpiece. One of my favourite albums as well, with the classic stuff from a solo artist put together. Here are some records from the infamous prog rock, psych rock, experimental, and beloved Titans, with an infamous discography, that being Pink Floyd. Here we have Umaguma. This is an original pressing, I think. I actually defend this album. It's one of my favourites. Here we have Dark Side of the Moon. I have a few copies of this, just because I wanted to have the best copy with the best sound quality and condition. I think this is the best one that I could really have. Yes, it is, because it has most of the contents. Here's an unofficial pressing of More. Animals. This is maybe an original pressing. I love the album now, and I think it is one of the other classic records from the later half of their discography. Here is a pink-coloured record, Wish You Were Here Symphonic, which is unusual, but it's 180 gram, pink pressing with some of the other musicians, Rick Wakeman, Alice Cooper, a London Orion Orchestra. Here is Wish You Were Here. This is an original, and it is my favourite Pink Floyd album. Here is Obscured by Clouds. This is a first press. This is Wish You Were Here Again, but the mid-2010s remaster. It sounds beautiful. This is one of my top 5 albums of all time. I love Wish You Were Here very much. Atom Heart Mother, one of the first few UK pressings. Heavy. Fuck. This is The Wall. I believe this is unofficial pressing, but great album. It's, to me, along with Dark Side of the Moon, the most overrated Pink Floyd album. This is Medal, one of them being an original, because I have 2 copies of the original, guys. Hey. Yeah, I'm right. Sorry about that, guys. But anyways, Medal again, as I've said, 2 original pressings, I believe. Another classic album. Here is a collection of great dance songs. Just a strange compilation. But yeah, that's all of Pink Floyd. Oh, jeez. Really heavy. You see, I do these things for you people because I love you guys. Showing what I want to show for a long while. Since it's been some few years since I've last done my vinyl collection videos. Next band, we have a few records from Queen. We have my favourite Queen album, Sheer Heart Attack. Oh, sorry guys, hang on. I'm a bit out of breath. Need to hydrate. I have a sore throat still because of a lot of talking. By the way, let me know what you think of the stream so far. I'll have to check my battery on my phone as well if hopefully nothing's going to go wrong. Please let me know, guys. Yeah. Anyway, Sheer Heart Attack, my favourite Queen record, Brighton Rock, Killer Queen, Stone Cold Crazy. This is, to me, their best album. I'm always a fan of the rock era Queen, but some of the poppier stuff, some of it is pretty shockingly generic, especially some songs from Hot Space. Here we have The Miracle, one of the worst album covers of all time. Just garbage. And look at that. Atrocious. I mean, I bought this because of just the hits. There are some songs that I'm on the fence about. Some of their weakest material. I just think it's not great, but it's all right. Here we have A Kind of Magic. Same reaction for this album, like I said about The Miracle. But it does have some beautiful harmonies and great performances from Freddie. I think this is a good album. Here we have, in my opinion, guys, the most overrated Queen album. A Night at the Opera. Yes, I know I've just spilled the beans. Overrated, but still great. But I just can't stand Bohemian Rhapsody anymore. I can't. I just can't. I'm in love with my car's good, and you're my best friend. Bit played out, but it's a pretty nice tune. Love of my life, though. Wonderful ballad. But yeah, great album, despite the overplay of Bohemian Rhapsody. This is The Works. I need to buy Queen 1 and Queen 2, News of the World. But that's all I will personally say about Bohemian Rhapsody. Very briefly at this point. I'm going to have a check on something a little bit. Yeah, cool. Sorry about this, guys. But yeah, I am a fan of Queen, but on the rock side. I just think that sometimes their singles are so overrated that, yes, they are massively big because of those singles. But at the same time, it's like, it's ruining what I love a lot about Queen at the same time. You get what I'm saying, right? Next band is The Police. I have some of their albums. I have Synchronicity, which is a really good album. Maybe my favorite so far. Here is one of their previous albums, Regatta de Blanc. And here is Ghost in the Machine. I like The Police. very much so. Oh, and Stuart Copeland, brilliant drummer, brilliant drummer. Next band is, I can get it out. There we go. Next band is Red Crayola with the Parable of Arable Land. Just another one of those overlooked bands for the freak out psychedelic trippiness type of fruition. This is a unofficial pressing, so pretty wacky album cover art. So the next band, guys, with one record, one record, Radiohead, Kid A. I love this album. My favourite Radiohead album. This is a remaster, and this beats OK Computer. As much as I like a lot of that album, Kid A is where it's at for me. I like Amnesiac as well, and A Moon-Shaped Pool. The Bends is really good, but this album resonates. Another album for all of you local Birmingham musicians. This is a record from a woman who I absolutely admire. This is Rebecca Downs with the album More Sinner Than Saint. I'm very grateful to know her, and with her attention of one of those up and rising modern blues acts, and you need to check her out. One of the best voices I've ever heard, and I know that may be biased, but as a musician and vocalist, that is the truth. This is on red coloured vinyl, and it's limited to 325 copies. My number is 26. There you go. So that is More Sinner Than Saint by Rebecca Downs. My favourite Becky album is Believe. That's my favourite. Love that album the most. Here's a very random record. Red Rose, Velvet Hammer. Hang on a minute. Sorry about this, guys. Here is Red Road's Velvet Hammer in a Cowboy Band. So what this really is, guys, is it's just basically country music that I tried to play this all the way through, but this is just as country as every other typical country record gets. Well, I don't mind country, but when it's just really predictable, that's what this is. And I did not play this all the way through. I've only played half of it, and I just think, time to play something else. That's, for me, much more not listenable, but it's like, it's okay, but it's not what I want to hear a lot. So there you go. Next up, some pile of records from one of the greatest rock bands of all time. And that band, ladies and gentlemen, is the Rolling Stones. Pile of records over here too. I'll whiz through these. Oh, here is Robert Johnson, King of the Delta Blues Singers, who I admire. Love a lot of his own take. Love his skill on blues music. Anyway, Rolling Stones, their Satanic Majesty's Request with the trippy looking lenticular cover. Oh shit. Sorry. Out of Our Heads, this is the UK version. Big hits, High Tide and Green Grass, Decca label. Through the Past, Darkly, Big Hits Volume 2, Decca label. An original pressing of Sticky Fingers with the zipper. Get Your Yayas Out. Steel Wheels, I believe that's an original pressing. Here we have Beggar's Banquet. My favourite Stones album, Exile on Main Street. This is a remaster from 2010. Beggar's Banquet again with the band cover art. Here is Let It Bleed, one of the later pressings from the early 2000s. I think it's on the silver coloured vinyl. Here we have Some Girls with the die cut sleeve. Excuse me. And the last one, Tattoo You. Great album, one of my faves. So that is the Rolling Stones. Oh. A lot of records for one band, and that's not even all of it, obviously. My hand was really tired. I know, hurry up, strong boys. Now, Andy, if you're still watching, here is the Ruttles. This is a hilarious parody of obviously the Big Four. It's just witty. It's hilarious. I really enjoy the Ruttles, not gonna lie. But here's the band that you've mentioned previously in the stream, and I really admire just some of the best parodies in music. So that is that. The Ruttles, some of their favourites from the Beatles, they do take the mick, but in a comedic way. This is through the Warner Brothers label as well. Here we have one of the top 10 albums of all time in metal, in my opinion. Unofficial pressing of Sepultura's Chaos AD, which is my favourite album from this band. This album is just still, to me, one of the other essential records of 90s metal in general. This is a debut album with one of, to me, the best debuts of all time. That's the Stone Roses self-titled album. Still, to me, one of the top 10. And, you know, I love this record. Every time I play it, never gets old. I Want to Be Adored is my favourite Stone Roses song, and it is one of my favourite bands as well. So I do have Second Coming, which will be shown later. Now, these last couple of records or more are from Paul Simon and Simon and Garfunkel. So here is the classic self-titled Paul Simon album. And there goes a Rhymin' Simon on vinyl. Here we have Still Crazy After All These Years. Great record too. And here is the Greatest Hits of Simon and Garfunkel. Here is the Graduate soundtrack on the CBS label. And the infamous monumental album Graceland. So here is Bookends. Such a sweet group they were. I do have one other record from them. I think I have the Parsleys album as well. So yeah, next pile. These are random selections, by the way. So let me know if you guys are still here. Please let me know as quick as possible, because I'll have to really whiz through, because I'm streaming for almost 2 hours and I've got to check on my mobile battery. But thank you so much, as I just said millions of times now, for really enjoying the stream. It means a lot to me that any one of you guys who loves watching my videos and to hang out with me during this time of the state of the world, and also to look after ourselves. And with your support and with my enjoyment of being on YouTube, it's just wonderful. Right, quickly whiz through these. We have Slipknot with We Are Not Your Kind. This was signed by Mick Thompson himself. Red coloured double album pressing. This is Soft Machine with 7. To me, very underrated and one of my favourites. Here is Soft Machine again with 3rd. This is the remaster from Music on Vinyl. My favourite Soft Machine album. 2011 remaster as well. Excuse me. Here is Sonic Youth with Washing Machine, which is my favourite Sonic Youth album. Double album. This is a remaster from 2015 on Geffen Records. Love this album. And I also have the t-shirt of that exact look. Here we have Slipknot again, the self-titled album on a picture disc. Unfortunately, I used to scratch the shit out of this, that it's beyond unplayable. Yeah, I'm looking at it deeper. I've scratched it so bad. I'll have to rebuy this. So, yeah. I'll have to buy this again. Next up, we have Frank Sinatra with Songs for Swinging Lovers. And I love Frank Sinatra. I don't give a shit what anyone says. He's one of my favourite vocalists of all time. Great, great album. Here is Slade, Sladist. And I really enjoy a lot of Slade's music. Noddy Holder, just one of the legends as well. Here is Small Faces with For Your Delight, the Darlings of Wapping Wharf Laundrette. Some neat talent from the Small Faces that I like quite a bit. Small Faces again with big hits, compilation and stuff. You know, there you go. This one is Spandau Ballet Journeys to Glory that I've still not played all the way through yet. This is on the Chrysalis label. Chrysalis, sorry for the mispronunciation. Slade, no, not Slade, sorry. Here we have Sparks with Kimono My House. Really do love quite a lot of Sparks, actually. I did see the Mayo Brothers live on the Hippopotamus era. They were just amazing. So wild. Energy, fun. So criminal that they're very underrated for a lot of people. Here is Sparks again with my favourite from the duo, Propaganda. This is an original pressing on Island Records. This is The Specials. I do like some music from this kind of scene, as well as Madness. Here's one of the other psych bands, Spirit, the family that plays together, stereo pressing, CBS. There you go. A legend that I've mentioned earlier, until I popped this record up, Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life. Legendary album in every aspect, on Motown series, through the EMI records as well. Stunning. Stunning. Now this is Split Enz, True Colours. This is the first one that I've ever heard from these guys, and I've only heard this album so far from them. Great new wave, poppy kind of sounds, and here is Split Enz again with Frenzy. Didn't play this one though. The next record is Squeeze with Singles, 45s and under. I'm not too familiar with a lot of Squeeze, but a lot of people say that they like Squeeze because of the hits. Next up, one of the greatest guitar players of all time, and an influence on me as well, Stevie Ray Vaughan with Texas Flood. Oh, and Double Trouble. How could you miss out these two guys as well? Love this album. My favourite Stevie album. Couldn't Stand the Weather's a classic as well. And In Step, just untouchable. Here is a Stevie Wonder 12-inch single, Don't Drive Drunk. Just a weird one. The next one, this is from one of my favourite ambient albums of all time. And his discography, so underrated. You should definitely discover him. And I love this album. This is Structures from Silence by Steve Roach. Wonderful, beautiful, calm album. And if you want to get into some very spacious, meditative albums, play this. Just a classic album. Here we have Rod Stewart, Every Picture Tells a Story. This is the one where it has Maggie May on it. But yeah, I like a bit of Rod Stewart, and Maggie May is a banger. Here we go. Here's Slade with Slade, written differently. Great album. You know, Goodbye to Jane, How Do You Ride, Mama We're All Crazy Now. So, you know, Slade are another one of my favourite bands. It's not just because of their Christmas song, but as a band with other songs, they kick ass. So I still stand by it, guys. This is James Taylor, Sweet Baby James. I like some James Taylor as well. Really like his skill as a guitar player. You know, just another one. Very, very good artist. Here is Kilimanjaro. The Teardrop Explodes. I've not played this one whatsoever. So this is on Mercury label this time. I actually don't know if there are still some other people watching. Just a few. But I'm more than halfway through. Watching the stream. Yeah, and showing the records. This is 10cc in concert, and here is the Undertones. Next up is Vangelis, Spiral. Another one of these electronic sounding musicians. Really cool album. I do like this one quite a bit, actually. No shit. Sorry guys, I have to take these records out. Here is Van Morrison with Moondance, my favourite Van Morrison album. Stunning. One of the greatest records of all time. It's also, with my opinion, a massive big flop. The new album is. That album is awful. But this album is just a goldmine. He has done way better albums than that new album. Here's Into the Music. Another one with some people saying it's one of his best albums. So, don't have a lot of his own stuff on vinyl yet. So, Van Morrison, legendary singer-songwriter, and his earlier stuff's the best peaks. Here is TB Sheets. Unfortunately, not in the best of shapes. But I believe this is just a compilation album. Yeah, pretty much is. Next record, this is Gene Vincent, Greatest Hits Volume 2, and The Greatest. Another one into the rock and roll genre. This is on Capitol Records. The other one is the same, Capitol Records. Here is Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds, very infamous album, bestseller. Pete Townsend with Chinese Eyes. I haven't actually listened to a ton of Pete Townsend's solo stuff yet. This is on the Atco Records label. Here is here are some records actually from one of my very top favorite bands of all time that really inspired me. Have grown to love a ton of this band's discography. Legendary rock band from London, and to me more of the favourite band of rock than the Rolling Stones, although I love the Stones, obviously, but this band really speaks to me with nostalgia. That is The Who. Face Dancers, my least favourite Who album. Who's Next? This is a classic album. This is a 2003, remaster. Here's Who's Next again on Track Records. Next record is... Oh, for fuck's sake, get off. My Generation on Virgin. Great debut album. Tommy, legend concept album. One of my favourite double albums. This is a quick one. And The Who Sell Out, a twofer. Next up is the latest Who album. I actually like this album. Some people don't, but I do enjoy it. The most underrated, The Who by Numbers. Love this album. Quadrophenia, top 10 album of all time. There's another one of Quadrophenia. And here is my favourite live album of all time, Live at Leeds. Who does not love Live at Leeds for live albums? Come on, guys. That's, to me, a legendary document. Like with Made in Japan from Deep Purple. So, there you go. Now, these records are from one of my favourite prog rock bands of all time. And that being is Yes. Here is Fragile. Really good album. This was the first Yes album that I've bought when I started vinyl collecting. This is Going for the One, the original trifold pressing. Here is one of my favourites, Tales from Topographic Oceans, double album. This is Drama, one of their best, very strong record. Do I know Skinny Puppy, Aidan? I do know Skinny Puppy, but I do not have any of their stuff. Time in a Word, not one of my favourite Yes albums, unfortunately. So this is one that I personally don't play a lot. And the infamous Close to the Edge, my favourite Yes album. Remaster, by the way, and here's Relayer. This is my second pick for best Yes album. So that's the Yes discography that I got on vinyl. The last few here, last few here from, to me, Canada's best solo artist. That is Neil Young. So here we have Tonight's the Night, the acetate bootleg pressing. And here is Rust Never Sleeps, which is a wonderful record. Oh, another Yes album, Big Generator. Not one of my faves. It's incredibly average to me. Here is Time Fades Away. Really good live album. Here's Comes a Time. I absolutely adore this album. Easily, just to me, a better album than Harvest. Here's an original pressing of Tonight's the Night. And here's another original, Freedom. Very underrated. And here is On the Beach. Really strong record, this one. Zuma. Really good one as well. Great follow-up to Tonight's the Night. I have a few of Neil Young elsewhere. So, the last, I guess, chronological pile into the Z is with Frank Zappa, Involving the Mothers of Invention. Weasels Rip My Flesh. Very good album. My favourite Zappa album, Hot Rats. To me, classic album. Here is another underrated one, Burnt Weenie Sandwich. One of my least favourites, if not my least favourite in the classic Mothers lineup, Rubin and the Jets. Here is Uncle Meat, one of the best. Not an original, but this still has the blue label of Bizarre. My original UK uncensored pressing of We're Only In It For The Money. The first Zappa album that I've heard. And One Size Fits All. One of the other best albums in Zappa's discography. Shake Your Booty. This is from 2015 on Zappa Records. And here is Overnight Sensation. Very good one. And my favourite Zappa live album with Captain Beefheart and the Mothers from the 70s era, Bongo Fury. Oh dear. Arm's really sore now. Excuse me. Mick, really sorry, Greg, but have to go now. I really love the stream. Great work, mate. Thank you very much, Mick. Hope to see you and the rest of Big Wolf Band participating for a meetup and hopefully see you live. So that is that really for the order of a lot of my records. And I'm just going to show you random piles of the other records that are not shown yet. So I may have to take this mobile with me. There you go. You can still see me. I'm going to check the battery first. Okay. I've got to make it real quick. So, phone's really hot. I'm going to whiz through these. So we have California by Mr. Bungle, remaster. Here we have Miles Davis, Pangea, remaster. This is a classic live album. A picture disc of Mastodon's Once More Round the Sun. My favorite album of 2020, Deftones' Ohms. Mastodon's Leviathan on royal blue with bone white pinwheels splatter vinyl. Here is Screamadelica by Primal Scream. Ooh, shit, what's that? Sorry about this, guys. Lou Reed, Ecstasy. Tangerine Dream with this album, Phaedra. A bit of Tangerine Dream, Stratosphere. Tangerine Dream again, the original pressing, UK pressing wise of Ricochet. Rubicon by Tangerine Dream. Here is Zait from the same band. Some more Neil Young. Everybody knows this is Nowhere, one of the classics. Dope Smoker by Sleep. This is a splatter pressing, electric blue with purple pinwheels, splatter edition of Mastodon's Remission. And here is white colored pressing of Blood Mountain. The Stranglers with Feline. This is Fotheringay. Led Zeppelin Presence. Lou Reed, Coney Island Baby. Faith, Hope, Love by King's X. Funkadelic, Standing on the Verge of Getting It On. Santana 3. Here is Cream, again, Cream, Wheels of Fire. Stevie Wonder, Inner Visions. Miles Davis, Milestones. Frank Sinatra, Only the Lonely. Sorry for the bit of the darkness. Ugh, my arm's really aching. But I will battle through. Genesis, Selling England by the Pound again. As I did mention that I have other pressings that I've said during the stream. Brimstone and Treacle soundtrack. Premiata Veneria Marconi, one of their other early classic Italian prog rock albums. This is Architecture and Morality by Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. Simon and Garfunkel, Parsley, Saga, Rosemary and Thyme. This one is Els Bailey, Wildfire. Really good newer generation of blues artistry. This is So Far by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Simon and Garfunkel again with Wednesday Morning 3 a.m. Creedence Clearwater Revival with Willie and the Poor Boys. Frank Sinatra again with In the Wee Small Hours. This is a remaster. Forever Changes by Love. The next one is Black Sabbath, Live at Last. Wishbone Ash with Pilgrimage. The Jam again with Sound Effects. This is the Incredible String Band. This is a reissue. Green Day, my favorite Green Day album, Insomniac. When they used to be awesome, in my opinion. System of a Down, Toxicity. This is a remaster. Liam Gallagher with Why Me, Why Not. Hope the new album's going to be very good. The Stone Roses with Second Coming. Next one is Journey Through the Past by Neil Young. This one is Mr. Bongle again with The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny. Here is Neil Young with After the Gold Rush, my favorite Neil Young album. Here is another classic by him, Ragged Glory with Crazy Horse. This is an original pressing. Here's another copy of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway by Genesis. And actually, that's a touring program of Pink Floyd's tour of A Momentary Lapse of Reason. Other random records. Sorry for the bit of the mess. Pulp, His and Hers. DMA's The Glow. Rammstein, Reise. I do have Mutter on vinyl as well. Rosenrot. Mastodon's new album with Hushed and Grim. Liebe ist für alle da by Rammstein. Swans with White Light from the Mouth of Infinity. LCD Sound System's Sound of Silver. Carcass, Torn Arteries. This is the yellow with black splatter vinyl. Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly, which is to me one of the other essential new albums from the last decade. Slint with Spiderland, LCD Sound System's first album. Depeche Mode with Songs of Faith and Devotion. Some Great Reward, Ultra, Construction Time Again. Suede with Coming Up, Dogman Star, and the self-titled. This one over here is Slow Dive with Souvlaki. This is the Music on Vinyl classic album remaster. Over here, I'm really trying my best here, guys. This one over here, this is one of the other random reissues of After the Gold Rush, early reissues of Neil Young's After the Gold Rush, an unofficial pressing of AC/DC's Power Rage, Terry Riley, A Rainbow in Curved Air, Herbie Hancock, Future Shock, Frank Sinatra, A Swinging Affair, Come Fly With Me as well, Supersonic Jazz from Sun Ra, Led Zeppelin's Houses of the Holy, unofficial pressing, John Prine, The Tree for Forgiveness. This one is Fleetwood Mac with Tango in the Night. This was another one that's one of my favorites. This is Who's Afraid of the Art of Noise? What's this one? This one is the Prince's Trust collection with some other artists. Pink Floyd, The Delicate Sound of Thunder live album. David Gilmour, About Face. This one is fuck's sake. This is Thin Lizzy, Whiskey in the Jar, random record. Gary Moore again, Wild Frontier. The Best of Vangelis. Landscape from the Tea Rooms of Mars. This one is Nebworth, featuring Eric Clapton, Phil Collins, Dire Straits, Genesis, Elton John, Paul McCartney, Pink Floyd, Robert Plant, Cliff Richard, The Shadows, Status Quo, and Tears for Fears. This is one of the D'Agostini releases of one of the Beatles compilations. This is the first part of the early recordings of the band. Here's an earlier pressing of Soft Machine's third. What's this one? Sorry about the notification noises, guys. I have over here the Eric Clapton Crossroads box set right there. And this one, this is Leonard Cohen with live songs. The Stooges Fun House. Sorry about this, guys. Accidentally pressed the notification on Discord. The Stooges Fun House remaster. This one is Robin Trower live, legendary underrated guitar player. This one is Rush with Grace Under Pressure, unofficial pressing. Another Moody Blues album, Threshold of a Dream. This is My Bloody Valentine MBV, another one of my favorite albums from the decade. George Harrison, Electronic Sounds, a Japanese pressing. This one is My Bloody Valentine Loveless, another original, well, not original, sorry, another unofficial pressing. This is Jean-Michel Jarre with Oxygen. And I did say earlier that I have the Nick Drake Pink Moon box set. I have the Beatles White Album box set edition with the A-Share demos. The next one is Metal Machine Music by Lou Reed. I know, a very hated album, very controversial one. And if I go over here, I have Oasis. Sorry for the lighting. Oasis with Be Here Now. Put these over there. Mastodon, Crack the Sky. I had to buy just like a regular vinyl pressing of this album, since this is one of my favorite top 10 albums of all time. Depeche Mode again with Violator. This is the 2016 remaster of that album. Camel, music inspired by the Snow Goose. This is an original, I believe, on Decca. Next up is the remaster of Stereolab's classic album, Dots and Loops. I really do love quite a lot of Stereolab, and their discography, it may not be for everybody, but I think this album is a classic in every right. Here is Oasis with Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, one of the other underrated albums, and one that I do defend. For those that have seen me with the Metal Meltdown recently, on albums we do defend that they don't get the hate. Sorry about the look of the mess on the floor, by the way. This is Klaus Schulze with one of his albums, Black Dance. This is on the Virgin label. Is it? Yeah, on Virgin Records. Here we have Budgie, the self-titled album. Excuse me. But yeah, very, very good, strong debut album. Here we have Tangerine Dream again with Encore. And speaking of the krautrock scene, guys, I am going to be doing a separate vinyl collection related video on the krautrock genre only, because I have got quite a lot. But with this stream, since it's my whole vinyl collection, I will have to put the krautrock collection as a separate video, because it's a very lengthy live stream here already, and I think the krautrock genre needs to get its own recognition so much more. So that is Tangerine Dream with Encore. Great live album. Pink Floyd, The Division Bell. This is an original UK pressing. Original US pressing. Very sorry about that. But Great record, one of my favorites. Here is Swerve Driver with Mezcal Head, another one with a band into this kind of shoegazy alternative rock type of genre that I really like a lot. Here is New Order with Fact 50, or Movement, as many people say that it is. I need to get some more New Order on vinyl. Very good one, but New Order's Power, Corruption and Lies is way better than this, but I still enjoy that one. Here is Ian Brown with The Greatest, a compilation album of quite a lot of his big hits, like My Star, Fear, Whispers, Golden Gaze. I love Ian Brown's solo material. Well, most of it. Over here, this is where a lot of my Miles Davis stuff stays. This is... what's this one? This is Supernatural Fairy Tales, an unofficial pressing. Here is Country Music Vision Fortune, a very experimental type of album that I am really finding it unusual, but I do like the sound of it. Here is Premiata Funeria Marconi, Photos of Ghosts. This is the English version, and you hear them sing in English, obviously. Free Live, brilliant live album. Sorry for that weird looking clown mask. It was Halloween a few months back. The Mahavishnu Orchestra with Birds of Fire, classic record, one of my favorite jazz fusion bands. And here is the big one, the Inner Mounting Flame. I adore this album, one of my favorites. Just a seminal jazz fusion masterpiece. Madness, this is One Step Beyond. Here is... oh, wrong way. Here is Led Zeppelin 2, which is my favorite Led Zeppelin album. Oh, here's the Damaged record of Brimstone and Treacle. Good thing I decided to rebuy it. So that does not count. Duran Duran, another Birmingham-based group. I believe this is a self-titled, actually. Yeah, it is. Here is Duran Duran with Rio. Next record is Duran Duran Arena. The next one is AC/DC, Highway to Hell. One of my top 10 albums of all time. Classic record. One of the best, if not the best AC/DC album. Bob Dylan again with Highway 61 Revisited. Bob Dylan again with Another Side of Bob Dylan. Really good, yet underrated album to me. So here is with the Miles Davis stuff. Once again, here we have Agharta, music on vinyl pressing, my favorite live album from Miles. Gojira with From Mars to Sirius, legendary record. This is Bitches Brew by Miles Davis, my favorite Miles album. On the Corner, remastered. This is Decoy, very overlooked 80s period of Miles Davis's music. This is Tutu. This is a deluxe edition. I do love a lot of Tutu, to be honest. Very overlooked album. One of the greatest jazz fusion albums of all time in a silent way. Here is Dark Magus, double album, double live album, really. Really good one. Not one of his best. Next album is Miles Davis, The Fillmore. Again, not another one that's one of my personal favorites, but I really do enjoy this album for what it is. Next up, this is an audio file. An original master recordings pressing of Jack Johnson from Miles Davis. As you see there, it's numbered. Classic rocking jazz fusion. Here we have the obvious acclaimed record, Kind of Blue, the #1 jazz recommendation for millions of jazz newcomers. Highly beautiful. So I'm going to have to move these in that kind of order. Don't want them to fall. This is Nefertiti. This is a wonderful record. Another one of his best. Here we have Sketches of Spain, one of the other favorite Miles Davis albums for many people like myself. Sorry about this, guys, but I have to place my records in random spots. Files de Kilimanjaro, and I think this is where the strong paths of his career starts to escalate. Be Mindful and Wise. Miles Davis is my favorite jazz artist. I love a lot of Miles Davis, so this is a stereo pressing, hence why this man's music has to be shown. This is Live Evil, really good one. And Jack DeJohnette on the drums. He's a fucking monster on this record. This is Gary Moore with Still Got the Blues. Yes, that was him with a poster of Jimmy and a few more pictures of Jimmy. Classic Marshall amp and Gibson guitar. I mean, just amazing. Pecky Peck, or Motley, I should say. Any Happy Mondays? No, I don't have Happy Mondays on vinyl. I think you have missed my showing of Second Coming and the debut from the Stone Roses. But yes, Still Got the Blues from Gary Moore. Strong album. And I think Back to the Blues is very overlooked. And it's another one of my faves. The Divorce album, No Jacket Required, as I've said earlier, a few hours back of the stream, by Phil Collins. This one is Blue by Joni Mitchell. Finally, here it is. Not an original, a remaster, but what a beauty this folk classic really is. One of my favorite jazz artists of all time, Bitches Brew, would be my favorite of his. Okay, Be Mindful and Wise. Good pick. Meatloaf, Bad Out of Hell, one of the very first albums that I've ever heard. And I love it for that reason. Great album. Here is my favorite Simon & Garfunkel album, which is Bridge Over Troubled Water. This one, despite the look of that ugly sticker, this one absolutely hits home with me. Just stunning in every single way. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Accidentally turned the camera other way around. Sorry, I had to scratch my nose. George Michael with this album. Oh, the camera's zoomed in, I think. Hang on a minute. Yeah, it looks zoomed in. Does it look zoomed in, guys? This is Listen Without Prejudice, Volume 1. George Michael, one of the greatest artists of all time for singing and for his own music. Great singer. The Stooges, again, with the self-titled album. Very good one, although I think Raw Power is better. Sonic Youth again with the album Dirty. This is the double album pressing, 2015 remaster on Geffen Records. This is Bruce Springsteen again with The River, one of his best. Very strong album. Really think it's just incredible. Great material on this album. Nearly done, guys. This next album here, hang on a minute. Mahavishnu Orchestra, Visions of the Emerald Beyond. This is another brilliant album. But the first two albums, Birds of Fire and also The Inner Mounting Flame, check the band's first two albums out. So good. And this is a really good one too. And the last one here, Swans, To Be Kind. I've talked about this album on my video of the best albums of the decade list. And this album is destructive, it's uncompromising, it's loud, it's tortured, it's so monstrous. And it's really a ride. It's a ride of an album. One of my favorites from one of the best experimental bands ever. Right, so sorry about the mess, guys, but look at all this. And my battery is less than 15% left, so I really got to crack on and show a bit more. Sorry about the mess. So, whoop, shit. Whiz through these. Strapping Young Lads, City, Fear Factory, Obsolete, Herbie Hancock, Headhunters, DJ Shadow introducing, an original pressing of Talking Heads, Remain in Light, Massive Attack, Mezzanine, Björk, Post, Stereo Lab, Peng, 50-Foot Hose, The Rolling Stones with Emotional Rescue, Barclay James Harvest, Robin Trower, Bridges of Sighs, Gojira, Fortitude, Passion, Grace and Fire by John McLaughlin, Herbie Hancock, Flood, phenomenal live album. Check this one out too. Steve Roach, Impetus, Noi 75, some Beatles pressings of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. There's this one. The Jam, all mod cons. Actually, these Jam records are one of my uncles. But here is all mod cons, Setting Suns, Sound Effects, and the In the City. Can, Soon Over Babaluma. Do have a UK original of that. Noi 2, Faith No More with King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime, and Angel Dust. Both of these are music on vinyl remasters. Gordon Lightfoot, Gord's Gold, a compilation. This record, though, is Zoom with... I'm trying to look at the text properly. Commodores, that's it. This is with the Beatles, but as like a calendar. Another Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band pressing. The records that have just fallen over. This is another copy of Ohms by Deftones, and my original pressing of Black Sabbath's self-titled album. Black Midi Cavalcade, Boris, Atlas Feedbacker, Dread Sovereign, Alchemical Warfare, Deftones with White Pony, my original pressing of Black Sabbath's Sabotage. This one is King Crimson, Discipline, the original pressing. Vespertine by Björk, remaster. Schlagenheim by Black Midi. Deaf Heaven's Infinite Granite on vinyl over here. Slipknot, Point 5, The Grey Chapter. Björk by Ophelia. Gojira, Magma, Genghis Tron, Dream Weapon, Tangerine Dream, Hyperborea, and over here, guys, that's my Krautrock collection, which I want to do a separate video for that. And to top it all off, guys, here are other random record bags. And I need to move one of my guitars. Focus. Ooh, nearly done. Focus 3, double album. One of the most underrated progressive rock bands of all time. Rammstein with Mutter. This is the 2015 remaster as well, like the ones previously that I've shown. Here is Boris with the Third Man Records pressing of Flood, which is another one of Boris's best albums. This re-release was released this year from Jack White's Third Man label, as I've just said, and the other with Atlas Feedback that I've shown a few minutes back. And the last one, Klaus Schulze live with a poster, double live album. One of my favorite German musicians of all time on the Brain label, not an original, but very cool to have for my collection. And with that being said, guys, that is it. That is my entire vinyl collection. For those that have stopped in all the way through that, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. A big thank you to viewers who have tuned in, like Be Mindful and Wise, Andy, Blackwater Rust, Aiden, Ryan, Zach D Productions, Sedition Through Scorns, Mick, and Motley. So thank you so much. I know that there were so many comments that was sent during my talking of the records, and I apologize, but I'm looking through them as I'm talking right now. But Boontar, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you are very well. How much did you see this stream, by the way? But much love to you and your family. So that's my whole video, my live stream of my entire vinyl collection. Now that I am going to stop streaming, relax, and put a lot of these records that are on the floor back where they belong. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy the entire stream. Once this whole thing will be up, well, it'll be up obviously as I'll be stopping the stream. Much love to every single one of you who really enjoys the stream. And I had to deal with one dickhead being negative, not being positive and open-minded at all. But it is what it is. So thank you very much. And tomorrow, now that Boontar sent me a message, tomorrow, the 6th of December, is my birthday. And I will make a community section post about it on the channel tomorrow. And you can wish me a happy birthday on there. But thank you so, so much. You mean the world to me. And I'm not just saying that. You guys are the reason why I am so positively optimistic with what I love to do for the channel and the videos put together. And, you know, let's just be ourselves, look after each other with such a positive mental attitude all the way through. So that is it. I know it's a very long stream. It's a very long stream, I know. 3.5 hours, the longest stream that I've done on the channel. But I just thought I would do it for all of you guys who are very excited, like myself, to show off every single record that I own in the collection. Thank you all for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.